Well, I'm just back from a week in Israel where our friend and ally is recovering from horrific terrorist attacks from Hamas, launched from the Gaza Strip over nearly 2 months. Hamas agreed to 11 different ceasefire agreements and broke every one of them except the most recent. Sadly, many Americans think that what happens in and to Israel just doesn't matter to them. But the truth is, the hatred targeted toward Israel is the exact same hatred targeted toward Americans. The fanatic radical Islamic hate that we saw on our own soil on 9/11/2001. The same hate that resulted in the savage beheadings of a couple of American journalists who videotaped because those animals who did it were actually proud of their sin. Hamas, Hezbollah, Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, and ISIS are all branches from the same sick tree. Now, it's been 13 years since radical Islamists flew airplanes into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and would have flown another, probably into the U.S. Capitol, except for the heroism of passengers aboard United Flight 93. One wonders if the 13 years that have passed since, have we learned much about our real enemy? Well, our enemy is global, not tribal, and they're not interested in meting out their savage behavior exclusively in the Middle East. Israel, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, they may be the front lines for these loons, but the real target is Europe and then the grand prize, the United States. Sadly, the president openly admits he doesn't have a strategy to deal with groups like ISIS. Well, let me loan him one. You don't spare a moment nor any resources in eradicating these cancers on civilization. A person diagnosed with a tumor first wants to know if it's benign or malignant. Now, if it's benign, it may be best to keep an eye on it and just contain it. But if it's malignant, there's an urgency to surgically remove it and then radiate it and or attack it with intense chemotherapy. I mean, a patient never says, "Hey, doctor, please don't take all the tumor. Just take some of it and try to tame the rest." Trying to contain radical Islamofascists like ISIS, Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, or Hezbollah, that's as irrational as trying to sing lullabies to a malignancy, just hoping that it'll go to sleep and stay quiet. Look, I know it sounds harsh, but when religious fanatics openly state they want to kill all of us and then prove it by videotaping the beheadings of American journalists, we better wake up. The anniversary of 9/11 this week, well, it's a good time for us to remember that the murdering mad dogs that committed those acts are of the same blood of the ones firing rockets into Israel, kidnapping young girls and raping them, shooting Israeli informants in the head behind a mosque. Politicians pretending that they really aren't religious fanatics are somehow believing that we can talk some sense into them. Means that someone needs to talk some sense into the politicians. Look, I wish we could send a diplomat to handle this, but what we better do is send some people dropping bombs, shooting rifles and machine guns, and throwing grenades. Because we're dealing with a cancer. We will kill it, or it will kill us. And I vote we kill the cancer.